Roshni Sharma. I graduated from Helston in 2005 before going on to study environmental science and management. I finished that with my honours in human geography before going on to do some research in paleoclimatology, which is essentially the past climate, the basis of climate change. I finished that as a Master of Science, majoring in geoscience, because I realised halfway through that my passion actually lay in geospatial information, so anything with a location. I've completed a Master's in Science and Technology in majoring in spatial information from UNSW, and I'm also currently completing my MBA, my Master of Business Administration. So the way that I think of myself is that I want to be a thought leader, a compassionate disruptor, and a connector. I want to be someone who gets things done. I am really, really passionate about the power of geospatial technologies to create change for the spatial industry, but also every other industry, because everything has a location. I believe that changing society for good and using science, technology, engineering and mathematics, so STEM, is really the way to go. And I currently work for an organisation called Frontier SI, where I bring together cutting-edge innovation into useful applications for academia, industry and government. I'm also proud to be a really strong advocate for diversity, inclusion, belonging and equity, part of the Global Women's Leadership Network, Homeward Bound, which is a program that accepts 80 to 100 women across the globe each year to challenge stereotypes around women in science and bring greater advocacy to women in STEM. We were meant to travel to Antarctica for the intensive section of Homeward Bound last year, but of course COVID happened, so hopefully we'll go next year. I'm also one of the conveners of the Space, Spatial and Surveying Diversity Leaders Network, which is the body that organises high-level change and advises to government around diversity, equity, belonging in the interrelated space, spatial and surveying industries, which is where I work. I strongly believe that everyone should have an equal seat at the table, and that while there's many beliefs and cultural norms that create power and privilege in different ways, in this day and age it's entirely possible to challenge these and to create meaningful change if we choose to challenge. And that's just it. It's a choice. The standard that we accept is the standard that you walk past is a standard that you accept. In my work in STEM, it often means that I'm the only woman in the room, let alone the only person of colour who is under 40. So that can be a little bit challenging sometimes. In the early years of my career, I pretty much just sat there and didn't talk very much because I wasn't confident in being able to be heard, but also I wasn't confident in making positive change. These days, I assertively call people out on the assumptions that they make. Things like really thinking about perspectives that are not their own, and also thinking about the needs of users who they may not necessarily relate to because they may have different needs themselves. So in this way, I can respectfully voice points of view and without too much disruption help other people become more aware of the things that they aren't aware of, so what they don't know that they don't know. I think that is the root of it all. Nobody sets out to intentionally or maliciously do bad things or exclude people. It happens because we make assumptions, and it happens because we aren't aware of certain things. I also put my hand up to be part of committees, working groups and boards to help bring representation of women and other voices who aren't always at the table. While I was at Helston, I was surrounded by friends, peers and teachers who were open-minded, broad in their thinking and willing to challenge. Once I entered university and the workforce, I realised that this isn't always the case, and I look back and realised how lucky I was. The values that being at Helston taught me, things like integrity, courage, and willingness to always speak up about what's right. They may have taken me a little while to grow into more, but they're definitely things that stand with me every day today and help me to choose to challenge. In terms of what sort of world I want girls and boys of today and tomorrow to grow up in, is a world where we're able to empathise, not just from our own shoes, but to really let ourselves step into the shoes of others and put our own shoes to one side. This, if nothing else, can create the bridge that allows us to open our minds and our hearts together. And that puts us in a position where we can't be selfish. We have to then think about other people, and we have to then think about what is better for the whole group, and also how to not only meet the needs of one group, but how we could actually meet the needs of everybody. And I think that is entirely attainable. I think that it's all about small acts of choice. Talking to people who are different to us, whether they might like different flavours of ice cream, have different political views on us, believe in climate change or not believe in climate change, all of these things. And that just helps us to, if you do it with a point of view that's not to change them or convince them or, you know, say anything at all, but just to listen from your own side and hear what they have to say and why they believe that. I think that's incredibly powerful. And it's a choice. I also think that with the variety of books that are available there these days on, you know, in bookstores, on Kindle, everywhere, it's really possible to set yourself a challenge that for 3 months, just read books that are written by people who don't have a Caucasian Anglo background. I mean, I've set myself that challenge for the whole of 2021 to try to read only books that are written by authors that don't have a similar background to me or don't have a similar background to where I've grown up, which is Australia. In terms of what International Women's Day means to me, it's not actually about women at all for me. It represents something much larger, for which equality for women is just the top of the iceberg. For me, International Women's Day is about acknowledging that there are all types of diversity. Cultural diversity, racial diversity, religious diversity, age diversity, gender diversity, diversity in sexual orientation, diversity in ability and disability. Some of these are visible, such as race, age, gender. Some of these are less visible or invisible, such as sexual orientation. And wherever there's difference in the world, history has dictated that there will be power and privilege, a group that is a minority and a group that's more in a position of power. For me, International Women's Day is about choosing to open our minds and our hearts to difference with empathy and compassion, and choosing to then challenge in small and big ways, because it all adds up. Thank you very much.